Hello everyone, Hachadino over here, and today we have the full patch notes for the 0.1.1 patch for Path of Exile 2. Let's check them out. I'm going to go a little bit fast on some places and a bit slower in some places. Do remember that I did a first look thingies the other day. This patch is going to happen most likely on the let's say 15th, no, 16th to 17th, likely. I think it's most likely to happen before the weekend, but I'm not 100% sure. As of right now, it's January 16th, around 2 p.m. for EU. It hasn't happened, but maybe it happens today a little bit later. Well, at least we will have some cool things to know. As for me, I'm quite happy because they have buffed the boots that I use. Kind of cool. We will see them later. But now we have four new tower areas: the Alpine Ridge, the Bluff, Mesa, and Sinking Spire. They were already in the build that you haven't seen. I recommend you that you see. It's not super long. It's like 7 minutes. And Lost Towers area have been revamped, so now they have more mobs. They have like wider places, so you don't get trapped into a super small area. You have a lot of pack size. And first of all, the Arbiter of Ash, as you already knew from what I explained and in the reveal, you will begin with 6 respawns. By respawns, it means like you have 6 portals, but you cannot change your build. This is important for people, can only triggered by the person who put on the keys. So if you are in a group, your friends can't put the respawn. So if you crash or something and they get killed, they have to go out and wait for you to initiate the respawn using a portal, and then they will be able to enter a portal again. Now, as you can see, everyone will respawn at the same time, leaving the map for first your attempt, and you will still need to fight the boss with the wood you walked into the map with. This means that if you um, leave the map itself, it means that you will lose the full attempt. I don't know how this will work with disconnecting to not get killed. You can do that on bosses, but we don't know about that. Higher difficulties will lower the amount of respawn attempts you receive. I will try to check this, but there will be, of course, more information, and people will find really fast how difficulty 4 lowers the number of attempts. Maybe you have one extra attempt, I think, or two. It makes sense if like losing one portal per difficulty, or if zero counts as a difficulty, so you will lose 5 portals, and you will only have, of course, one. Then so kind of the same. Now are can no longer be interrupted on the falling flame seat skill. This is the thing that he does like this, and that's the same as the interface, where you have the area that you can stay so you don't get one tapped. Of course, this is kind of annoying because he can also do his frontal and then just kill you anyway. And his Flaming Gale skill can no longer be blocked. Flaming Gale, I think, is the frontal that he does. You could raise your shield, and if you had enough stun threshold, you will not get stunned and just block the whole skill. It's now invulnerable for longer during its emergence and now takes significant while emerging. I think this is while he was doing like the interface from phase 1 to 2, like when he gets the sword. So it's like that if you one shot it, like get him from 100 to 0, and then he goes and does the interface, you have to kind of run around a little bit, like with his arrow, to kill him. Less likely to target minions with his sword, like with his auto attacks and frontal, which could prevent some of their skills being used because they were getting completely annihilated. Checkpoints to map areas. This is going to be so good, so good, so good. There were some places like the Baal cities or something like that, where you could clear a whole zone, and then there's like a little corner where there's a rare hidden, and you like ha ha ha, and Then you go through, and then you are on the other way of the screen. You kill the map boss, or you put the thing when they actually rares spawn on the map, and then you see that the skull is in Africa. Now, map areas now contain a minimum of three monsters. Rare monsters. There was a very unfortunate situation where you could get zero rares, and then of course the map would be failed. Citadels now appear closer to the Ziggurat refuge. This happens right now. Like there's like the it seems like there's like a minimum hard coded distance to the citadels. For example, this is the beginning when you begin, and like from this place it takes a little bit to get to like a citadel. Like my closest citadel was actually let's see, a little bit far away. It has like, let's say it was this one around, let's say, let's count like from you when you can see it, like one, two, three, four, let's say five screens for normal PC zoom. You know, consoles can zoom a little bit. That's also something that they will change, that you will be able to zoom further. Very good change. And let's keep on with the changes themselves. Now there will be also the biome. This is for 1 point that you can also get that has extra cool things inside of it. I did take it off, but local knowledge, it's kind of good. I can take one precursor tablet effect and then put it, but this is for extra drops. There's swamp, waters, mountains, forest, desert, and grass. Has like extra thingies. This is good for SSF, so you can kind of target the things that you want. But for people, the tablet power is super strong, so you want to get those going in. Now, here with the precursor tablets, overseas precursor tablets will drop from bosses, and bosses will be also appear more often. It's explained a little bit before, and can roll exclusive modifiers that affect map bosses, maybe giving them quantity, rarity, or maybe they drop extra uniques or drop extra essences. Like in PoE1, you have like many ways to make bosses drop extra things. That would be kind of cool. And then a lot of adjustments for map from themselves. Of course, we don't know the specifics, but one map area might have more number of monsters, like the strong boxes, so shrines, etc. The more difficult a map is to clear, or the smaller it is, the more access it will specialize in. So you have something like Mire or Augury or Decay that you will see a lot of them because they are just everywhere. You can have all of these extra thingies. Now, maps that are only in the biomes, like the Copper Citadel, Iron Citadel, and Stone Citadel have these special maps that are themed around them, like the Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 areas. They have this extra chance to contain essences, strong boxes, and shrines. You can already kind of put your map boss tree for them to have at least one of these things, but now they will have more chance to do that. Now the hideout areas now have more magic monsters and fewer rare monsters. You could stack a lot of increased rare monsters in these hideout areas and make a kind of cluster of rares. If you went into a map with like 100 and something extra rares, and also rares had an extra modifier, and also put some tablets that had also extra rares or something like that, you could end up with like 30 rares in a hideout area. Don't tell anyone, secret. um and now Untainted Paradise was super underwhelming. You had like 100 mobs and they gave like almost no XP, so it has a lot more monsters, and spawn a lot more. So it has quadruple magic and rare monsters. Of course, as you know, magic and rare monsters have more level, +1 and +2 respectively. So they give more XP because the XP um, thing that you get from getting from one level to another is reduced. This, of course, will be more noticeable as you are higher level, that they are more magic and rare, but maybe for once it comes back to its glory of taking you from 70 to 80. Now, highlight clickability of shrines. You really needed to be like on top of it and click on top of it to get it, even on PC. Like with console, I can't even imagine how annoying it will be. Simulacrum monsters were very tanky and very damaging. If you get hit by two mobs, that the one that the triple slam, you were likely dead unless you were super evasion heavy with acrobatics, because as you know, acrobatics makes it work with slams. Normal evasion does not work with slams, or have a lot of ES and can recover it. You can get a lot of damage. Now there will be more maps, bosses, 1 in 4 maps, because there were some maps that actually didn't have a chance to spawn bosses, and they were quite often spawning. Like for example, Augury doesn't have a boss, and some other than that. And of course, if almost one third of your Augury maps are everywhere and they don't have bosses, so it's actually more in 1 in 4. But they are changing this, so it's happening more. Now, of course, they are changing some things for bosses because they made this change. It's nothing crazy. They just have a little bit of a less chance to drop waystones. And now they buffed the I'm Not Afraid of You, the Atlas passive that made so the boss drop more simulacrum splinters. It was 50, now it's going to be 100. This is maybe because most people were just getting 4 points in simulacrum and then just selling all the others, because the other two 4 points were kind of whatever. Like getting one extra splinter from Cosis or from Omniphobia was not worth the trying to do difficult 3 simulacrum. Reduce the number of monsters and small chests from breaches by 15%. You don't know. And increase the amount of simulacrum splinters. This is going to be very good for farming simulacrum. Now, dedicated 2 DRs for wasters that are instilled with layers of delirium. That's kind of cool. Now more with gold value to vendors. This is kind of funny. How far you can zoom? That's what I told you. To match the zoom level on controller, like with the console, you can zoom out farther. So you will now be able also to do that on PC with keyboard and mouse. This actually nothing affects us. It's except one thing. For my custom crit thing, it was actually quite annoying that I broke a lot of Eye of Winters. I only need one to get my 10 stacks of critical weakness and wither. So this will help me so it doesn't go recursive and I run out of mana. It's this change. This may break some builds that use the cast on shock with lightning ball or cast on crit with Eye of Winter, but not mine. Temporalis now has that 100 milliseconds, so 100 ms, to proc things, so you don't crash the Euristance. And the lightning bolt, now it's greater lightning bolt, it does a lot more damage, but it will have this at least 100 millisecond thingy. Also, it can proc from itself, so that's why they had to do a lot more flying damage. Remove their attack from pain offering, blah blah blah. Terror is created from the summoning minion, not from itself, and a binary thing. Now, for monsters, I'm not going to kind of go through this. There are just some changes to a lot of monsters that were annoying or more dangerous than they should be. Like the monster that did vomits, it was a lot of little hits, and I actually died quite a bit from them before I had more evasion. Now, the super meteor snipe from downtown is not going to happen anymore. And lightning storm and also the eye of winter thingies, they're not going to spam them as much. And the fire doom blade bringers can't use their detonate skill from no from New Zealand, so that's good. And also the telegraphing is more improved. So in places where you have a lot of visual effects, or maybe in delirium when you can't really see it well, it may be better. Now things like that. It's very annoying. The player targeting behavior for Salmara, the arms are no longer targetable. I don't know what this is. Maybe you hit the body now instead of the arms. That would be a good change. Everything here is good. Reduce the prowling shade invisibility skill. They just spam that shit. I just ignore them most of the time. Couldn't care less. Jamara rising killed. Zombie Skirtner and gets explodes on death. That is so you don't get killed on melee when you kill the boss. A lot of things are whatever. Now, same thing here. There is some quality of life that charm effects. Now you will see the number of stacks that you have, and when it procs, they have like a kind of POE one flask esque duration bar. You can override runes. This is going to be very good if you want to use the same items for different builds. Some builds like Archmage would really want mana, and maybe you want to use your same chest or helmet or whatever for another build. You can put them the defensive ones. Or if you overcap resistances on some way or another, you can change to another resistance, to wall resistance, to chaos resistance, or to defenses. That is all good. Armor is more effective by 15%. This is useless. Flask with quality are now able to be salvaged. I should have gotten more flask with quality. I just ignore them, but they are on my filter, so I will just get them now. More monsters can be pushed. This happened quite a lot in breaches or in some other places where you get swarmed, and you can roll through some mobs, but there are not of them. You can't move them away from you, so you get killed. Now that won't happen a lot more. The distilled emotion now will I don't know, depend after you have picked the first distilled emotion. So if you are level 1, you won't see these thingies anymore. Now there's an exit to the Trial Master Arena. Good shit. A lot of things that we don't really care, to be honest. And kit gems now show their level on the item level, so you know that you need to be actual level X to get like a skill from level 14 or 15. A lot of 2D art and 3D art, and not much more that we care. Now there have been a lot of unique item changes, but the only one that I kind of care about is the power threat. Now it gives 12% to critical damage bonus per power charge instead of 8. This means also that it can go to 14, maybe 15. I'm going to try and get one of these. Of course, not getting them now because I will need to use a divine orb and then corrupt. But I'm going to try to get a lot of 12% ones and then Moment of Corruption corrupt when I have time. There is also some good changes that are not crazy but quite useful for leveling. But apart from, let's say, in a power level thingy that you would use for a lot of things, I don't know if it's going to be that much important. Pulse Protector now has some chaos resistance. That's good. We used both for a bit. And now book fixes a lot of things. I'm sorry for the people that were using concoction skills with the extra value of quivers. Unlucky. No more snapshotting with the mark of the Stitch Demon. Minion support, the life of lingering illusions. Yeah, this was kind of a funny thing. You could use Minion Pact and then just roll and create lingering illusions with extra duration. and get that 40% extra damage, like more damage, for let's say free. And tier 5 bows could not roll increased attack speeds, and tier 5 rings could not roll maximum life. This was actually kind of good to craft mana rings, but we don't really care that much. This was super annoying. You will not be able to do anything while you rolled. There is another bug, but I don't know if it's this one. Now, a lot of this doesn't affect us that much. We forward, blah blah blah. Couldn't be cancelled by dodge roll. Now you can cancel the things from augury finally by dodge rolling. That's good. Incomplete unique items could be obtained. This is like some from Trial Master thingies, I think, that you can get like daggers, swords, and spears. That won't happen anymore. Now the hooded one will also identify skills from the Titan's extra thingy. This was also kind of interesting, the Grim Fist bug, when you would see extra things on the ground, but they were not real because it was when you went from one corpse to another. And yeah, the negative values of maximum rage on H-Force were hidden, so you had to kind of do like me. Remember on my video that I did that you want to get ones that have no rage and then do a sort to get ones that have the minimum rage. And this way I got ones with -8, but likely you will be able to get -10 more effectively with this. And not much that you will do. This was kind of funny. When you had a corrupted item and you were trying to anoint it, there was like a place to put a tainted oil. Elemental Storm had a physical attack that is whatever. Not much from here, and from the Chayula Monk, they also made any changes, so we don't really care that much. There are a lot of control improvements. Now you can put a skill actually in your movement ability thingy place, so you don't need to have like one place free for that. And now item filters will be able to use on consoles when dispatch goes on. Microtransactions, a lot of them are going to be introduced now into Path of Exile 2. This is the first place well there begin. This is a lot of character fairs and cloaks, maybe because they are away from your characters, or they are easier to do. There are also weapons and things like that. Very cool. Some things that they have not been able to go through, like the map stuff. Una song seems that is not that easy to fix. And the multiple response to the extra things like King of the Mist, Bridgestone, like chess and all roth will be kind of cool. It will be also in the simulacrum because it's a very dangerous encounter, and you will be likely to die. Now that is everything that I wanted to say. We have a kind of a cool mini buff for our build if you use power threats. But for other things, I will see you on the next video.